Hello, my name is Tori Samario, and for my call to action speech, I chose a very controversial topic that has our nation divided. This topic is an emotionally charged argument that has people on both sides of the argument very passionate to defend their side. I have chosen to call my audience to end abortion in the U.S. So according to the reputable Martin Luther King Jr., every aborted baby is like a slave in the womb of his or her mother. The mother decides his or her fate. Dr. King was a human rights activist who fought for the rights of all human beings, especially African Americans. However, Dr. King was also very passionate about the rights of the unborn child. I will begin my speech by discussing my view of how life begins at conception. I will then move to how abortions are performed. I will finally discuss one major counter-argument of the pro-life movement. So to begin, let's consider when life truly begins. According to the American College of Pediatrics, the predominance of human biological research confirms that human life begins at conception. At fertilization, the human being emerges as a whole, genetically distinct, individuated, zygotic, living human organism, a member of the species Homo sapiens, needing only the proper environment in order to grow and develop. The difference between the individual and its adult state and its zygotic stage is one of form, not nature. So the basis of the pro-life argument is that life begins at conception. If life does not begin at conception, and rather it begins when a baby takes his first breath, abortion is not murder. Whether or not you consider a fetus as a human life or a potential for life, it has more value than just a cluster of cells. So when someone finds out that they are pregnant, they are excited because there is a promise of life in that pregnancy. No one is excited by just a bunch of cells. So when a woman becomes pregnant and she wishes to keep the child, the fetus is considered a child or a baby. But when the child is viewed, or the fetus is viewed as a burden to the mother, all of a sudden it's considered to be just a bunch of cells. So to me personally, this is a very warped way of thinking. I do not believe that personhood should be dependent upon whether it is convenient for the mother or the parents. I believe that this is what Dr. Martin Luther King was pointing out in the before given quote. Oftentimes, people who are pro-choice will argue for cases of rape and incest. However, I believe that this is just a distraction to the true issue. Rape accounts for very few of the numbers of abortions performed in the U.S. The rape argument is just a way for the pro-choice movement to distract people from the true issue, which is again when life truly begins. Now that we have discussed when life begins, let's consider how abortions are performed. In my research, I came across a video of a Dr. Anthony Levatino discussing how abortions are performed. Dr. Anthony Levatino is an obstetrician gynecologist, and in his many years of practice, he has performed over 1,200 abortions. In a computer-generated demonstration, he goes into great detail on how a surgical DNC abortion is performed, and this is the most popular form of abortion or type of abortion, and it's performed between 5 to 13 weeks of pregnancy. One thing that I find extremely interesting about this video is that he tells his audience that in the first trimester, the baby has a heartbeat, fingers, toes, arms, legs, but their bones are very weak and undeveloped. During this type of abortion, the doctor will dilate the cervix using special tools. Excuse me. The cervix is designed to stay closed so that it can protect the baby during pregnancy. So once the cervix is dilated, the doctor will insert a suction tube, which is attached to a machine that has a very strong suction much stronger than a household vacuum cleaner. The suction will tear the baby to pieces and suck it out of the uterus. One risk of this type of abortion is incomplete abortion, which occurs when pieces of the child or placenta is left inside the uterus. Abortion is a very unnatural and violent procedure that ends a life. This is why I believe it should be illegal in the U.S. Finally, I would like to consider one counter-argument to the pro-life movement. Perhaps this is the most popular argument, and it is, even if it's made illegal in the U.S., women will still continue to have abortions, but they will do it in unsafe ways, with a great risk of infection and even death of the mother. This is a very weak argument because even though someone might not follow a law, does not mean it should not be a law. So just because someone does not follow the law does not mean the law should not be in place. There are many laws in place today that criminals do not abide by. We do not get rid of these laws because there should be some order. And without these laws, there would be no order. Having abortion be illegal in the U.S. is a step toward a more just society. So now that we have considered when life begins, how abortions are performed, and one major counter-argument of the pro-life movement, abortion should be illegal in the U.S. because it is murder. It is a terrible fact and choice that many women face today, though. According to CDC.gov, the abortion ratio was 186 abortions per 1,000 live births. When one considers the amount of loss of life, making abortion illegal in the U.S. is an easy decision. Thank you.